Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Tony with Quick Tech Solutions, and today I want to cover my top 5 favorite GCC features in the new beta software or firmware. I know I did a video last week covering a couple of new key features to the firewall rules, to the traffic rules, and I know Willie did a video recently covering all of the updates coming to the GCC, where he actually went through the entire release document. But in this video, I want to share with you again my 5 favorite of all the releases. And again, they're my 5 favorites on how I would use them in my use cases and how I would use them in my customers' home networks. So that said, let's get started with number 1. My first favorite new addition to the GCC series is the ability to have multi-factor authentication. Now you can see here in the main tab under System Settings under Security, you now have the ability to disable or enable multi-factor authentication just by clicking on the Modify link. They give you a link here for multi-factor authentication instructions, and it's really super simple to do. If you'd like to see a video on that, just let me know down in the comments below. Now there are 2 ways you can authenticate using MFA. You can use mobile apps for Android and iOS. You can use Google Authenticator or the Twilio Authy 2-factor authentication app. For Windows, you can use the Authenticator app by Microsoft. If you're using a hardware key, you could use something like the YubiKey, would work just fine. Again, another great addition to the GCC series. My second favorite feature in the GCC Beta Firmware is the addition of IP groups. So under the networking tab, come down to Profiles, and then under Profiles, you can see here now that we have address groups, I have 3 subnets defined, and they're all part of the address group here called RFC addresses. These are the private addresses. You can see under References, I have 2 references. So if we go over to the Firewall tab, Firewall Policy and Traffic Rules, and if I go over to my IoT network, here's one reference where I created a rule and applied the IP address group. So if I go into that rule and I come down to here, you can see the destination address type is select IP address group, and then under destination addresses is the group that contains those 3 subnets, the 3 private addresses. So that's super cool. It allows firewall creation rules to be much more streamlined, and you have less number of rules here in this list. So thank you, Grandstream, for adding this feature. My third favorite update coming to the GCC is the ability to clone firewall rules. Now this did not exist in previous versions. So we're back in the Firewall tab under Traffic Rules, and now you can see here if I select this rule, I now have the ability to clone this rule. This is applicable to inbound rules, outbound rules, even though I don't have any outbound rules created. If you did, you would be able to clone them. You can clone forwarding rules as well. And the other place where it's available too is, I believe, under External Access in the Network tab. Under port forwarding, I don't have any port forwarding rules in place either, but if you did, you would be able to clone port forwarding rules as well. Another great feature added to the GCC series. My fourth favorite feature in the GCC Beta Firmware is the addition of setup wizards for the VPN. So we are in the Network tab under the VPN. You can see now in the menu we have Setup Wizard, and we have wizards for WireGuard, IPsec, OpenVPN, PPTP, and L2TP, making the creation of VPNs super simple and straightforward. This levels up the GCC with the rest of the Grandstream router lineup. My fifth and final feature in the GCC Beta Firmware is the ability under the Networking Node tab under Wi-Fi Management to add VLANs to the PPSK. Now I don't have any PPSKs added right now, but if you did, you can come down now and assign a VLAN to the PPSK. Now, if you're not sure what PPSK is, it allows you to take one wireless network, one SSID, and instead of having an SSID for your guests, an SSID for your IoT, an SSID for your cameras, an SSID for your main network. You can now use one SSID and create individual Wi-Fi passwords so that depending on what password you put in will attach you to the appropriate network based on the VLAN ID chosen. So that was not available in the GCC prior to this beta firmware update. This feature was only available in GDMS Cloud. Now it is brought locally to the GCC. And the other thing too, under the main tab in the PBX area, now I'm not using the PBX that's built into the GCC because I have my own separate UCM 6302 for my voice network. But if I decide to use the built-in PBX, when I enable it, I can now assign it to its own VLAN rather than have it sit on the default network. So there you have it, my 5 favorite GCC updates. Now again, these are my 5 favorites based on my use cases and how I would use the GCC with my customers in their home networks. Of all the updates in this beta software, let me know what you think are your favorites. Put that down in the comments below. That's about it for now. Take care.